Are you homesteading or are you farming? Because they're not the same thing. Today I want to talk about the cost of homesteading and answer the question if it is an expensive way to live. I think that if homesteading is expensive, you're probably doing it wrong. Hey guys, it's Katie Kate on the Homestead. Can you hear that racket in the background? My new neighbor is getting his hydro poles installed today. So yay for that. I guess I won't have to listen to the sound of a generator running day and night. I've just been puttering around the property this morning, trying to do some work in the garden while it was overcast and cool, and in denial of the fact that I have a new neighbor at all. They're going to be cutting my power at some point today, so I'm trying to prepare for that. I think I'm going to let this noise die down a little bit. There's a hornet over there I'm going to spray, and then I'll come back and we'll chat. Whew, well, they're gone. I have a cup of tea. I've had some lunch. They did cut my power only for about an hour. They did not warn me. The guys were very friendly, and I was a bit disgruntled, partially because I was in the middle of cooking when I lost power, also just generally annoyed from all the activity. They were very, very nice, very kind, very friendly, and they even left me a hydro pole that they had taken down over there. They dropped it off on my property. So a really, really nice long cedar pole. So I appreciated that. Well, back to my thoughts for today. I can't believe that it has been a week today since Scott's house fire, and I am finally starting to settle down after having a few days here on the property to just putter around and clear my mind. Today, I want to talk about the cost of homesteading and answer the question if it is an expensive way to live. I see this sentiment expressed quite frequently by other homesteaders who talk about how living this way is not cheap. And I am here to challenge that today. I have never over romanticized this lifestyle. It's a heck of a lot of work. It is simple. You have to want to live a fairly minimal lifestyle in order to stay living within your means if you're trying to live a sustainable life. I've never glorified it, made it out to be anything that wasn't a choice that comes with its own share of challenges. This conversation today is over and above the cost of the homestead and the property. I've actually shared another video on my story and how this all came to be for me. And I've also shared other ways that I think it could come to be depending on a person's situation. So this is addressing just the actual costs of living a simple life on a homestead, keeping the lights on, utilities, things like that. Things that I actually have to still pay money for. I can be perfectly transparent and tell you that I ran this homestead last year with a teenage boy living here with me for about $30,000 Canadian. And I think that's a really reasonable amount of money for a whole year. Gosh, I could make that just working at the supermarket in town. Like I said, living within my means is very important. I pay for just what I need. There are not a lot of other extra expenses that I incur. I really don't want anything. I don't need anything newer or fancier. I'm quite content with everything I have, and everything I purchase is just on a need to have basis. Homesteading is really about returning to a simpler way of living and providing as much for ourselves as possible. It's really not about generating profit from the property, and I don't do that. I don't even sell the extra eggs that I get from my birds. I'm really focused on meeting my own needs, and that is what homesteading is. Farming, on the other hand, is a for-profit operation where you have a property and you're trying to generate an income. Now, I think what happens is that homesteaders try to generate income to pay for those things that we still need cash money for, that we're not able to grow for ourselves or raise for ourselves. And I don't think that's what homesteading is. I think that's what farming is. Homesteading is a not for profit operation. So, for people who talk about homesteading and how expensive it is and how they're still working really high paying jobs off the property to afford everything, I would suggest that maybe you're farming. Maybe you've bitten off more than is necessary to meet your own needs, incurring all those extra expenses. And at that point, it's a small business. It's not really a homestead, it's a farm. So, yes, we still need cash money to pay for things that we can't barter and we can't grow in the ground. There are going to be expenses, but living within your means, you keep those expenses as low as possible. And I guess either you have some savings that you can put towards that, perhaps some investments, or perhaps a part time job if you need it. But I honestly don't think that homesteading should be expensive. I think that if homesteading is expensive, you're probably doing it wrong. All right, just some thoughts from the swing seat on this Friday. Lovely day, overcast. It's a really good day for planting. Just my response to some things that I have been hearing from other homesteading platforms. I thought I'd chime in with my 2 cents. So, until next time, happy, healthy living. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, staying kind, and keeping it simple. I'm Katie Kate on the Homestead, and I'll see you later.